Good morning, everyone. Welcome on this beautiful Sunday to our adult forum. I am delighted to have Mother Camie with us in our Coffee with Camie, and all kudos to all those who brought their St. Timothy's mugs today to celebrate this event. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to you, Mother Camie.
Okay. So this morning, I just figured we would have a dialogue about formation, what you all think is going well, what you think maybe we can do differently, and perhaps what needs to come to an end so that we can make room for new things. I will tell you kind of what we're up to in terms of formation here, and also where I know that we've got some gaps that are need to be filled soon, very soon. So in terms of adult formation, we've got these adult forums, and Amy deserves all the kudos and praise, and her team, Mark and Carolyn and Gary and everybody else who works really hard to put these together. They do such a good job, and they do such hard work to make sure that we've got these things to offer every semester. So thank you so much for your work on that. Hopefully you've come to or knew that it was happening, but we had an Advent and Epiphany Bible study that focused on women in the Bible. It wasn't just for women, so if you'd like to, you can go catch up on all of those sessions on our YouTube page, which is filling up very quickly. We are working very hard to make sure that there's a lot of content that people can access on their YouTube page, so that if you can't be here for an adult forum or you miss a Bible study, that you can access it and be able to kind of keep up with what we're up to. Right now, Mother Liz is working very hard on a Lenten study, and we've had 2 sessions. This Wednesday will be our 3rd session, and after this Wednesday, we'll have 2 more to kind of round out Lent, and that's about 10 people in the Bible that you thought you knew their stories, but there might be more to that you didn't know. And it's been really interesting, especially with people like Noah and Moses. We kind of forget those other parts. Moses committed murder and had to flee before God called him with the burning bush. Noah, God committed mass genocide before Noah, or when Noah and his family were all on the boat. We kind of forget those things because they don't show up in our lectionary that often. So we're taking a deeper look into those stories, and it's been very fruitful. And I hope that if you've come, you've found them to be very helpful and insightful. So I know that for a lot of people, last week we talked about Tamar. People didn't know who she was at all. And that was very good to be able to talk about that and what she had to do to make sure she was going to be taken care of. So we're trying to dig a little bit deeper into scripture and stories about people in the Bible. I know that for a lot of you, Bible study was a big thing that you were looking for.
I think that's better.
And the 7 o'clock on Wednesday doesn't work for everybody. Admittedly, it doesn't work that well for me. So we knew that we needed to fill that gap in other ways. So that's what we're doing now. After Easter, Mother Liz and I are scheming up things that we can offer small workshops on. So the 3 questions that Bishop Dion posed to us when he did our town hall. Praying with beads. If you've never done that, prayed with an Anglican rosary. We're going to offer a workshop on that. Maybe the Enneagram will be 2 sessions probably, which really you could just go forever and ever on the Enneagram. There's so much to learn. There's just so many topics. The Episcopal elevator speech. How do you tell people who we are in 30 seconds? We're going to do some workshopping on that. So we're planning to offer those maybe once every couple of weeks, starting after Easter. So watch out for those. They're going to be pretty limited in number. So be ready to sign up for some of those when we put those out there. In terms of youth ministry, last semester, I was inspired in my quarantine time at home by a Netflix show that I had watched called Down to Earth. Part of my attraction to it was because Zac Efron was the host of it, and I'm human, so so I started watching because of that, and really got into it because the places he was traveling, which this was filmed back in 2018, so pre-pandemic, the places he was traveling and the things that he was discovering all had to do with sustainability, water availability, food deserts, and how to make sure that people are fed. So I started thinking, how do we get people involved in this? And so I was like, let's start with the teenagers. And they really leaned into it. We watched an episode a week, and then we met on Sunday mornings about the same time as Adult Forum and talked about the episode and talked about what we thought in terms of what does energy need to look like in the future? What does water need to look like in terms of getting people clean drinking water? What does food security need to look like? What if there's a major catastrophe and farming as we know it is wiped out? And it just opened some really interesting questions, not only about those things, but about creation and where God is in these things. And we had quite a few people every week coming and getting on Zoom, adding one more hour of Zoom to their school week. But just to talk about these things and to have it be around a Netflix show. I mean, it was pretty easy to convince people to watch Netflix and then come to formation. So hopefully they'll be leaning into projects now as soon as we can start getting back together, which we did have a very fun evening on Friday. We had 9 kids come, and we were out in the prayer garden with 2 fire pits, and we sat socially distanced and masked and just caught up and played a game and roasted marshmallows. And it was really great because I think part of our formation, especially in the church and especially at that age, has a lot to do with being together. Being together and having a positive experience at the church will do more for retention than me saying, okay, come, we're going to do a deep dive into Isaiah, and then we're going to pray Compline, and then you can go home. Like, nobody wants to do that when they're 15 years old. So getting them together, feeding them pizza and sugar and playing a game and just being together. I did posit a question to them about some self-reflection. What have you learned about yourself in the past year? Now that we're a year into the pandemic, what are you learning about yourself and about, how you function in your world now? And it was really interesting. There were some really good answers. And then there were a lot of people who said, I've learned that I really love sitting on the couch, which I mean, same. So, but there were some good answers. I've learned that I procrastinate and I have to be more on a schedule to be more successful. So I have to regulate myself, and it was really interesting hearing those answers. And so my hope is that we'll be able to do that maybe once a month until we can, be back inside and start doing some real deep diving into how do we help steward God's creation forward. That's the focus that I'm hoping to get them to, because they were so responsive and receptive to the Down to Earth series. In terms of children's ministry, I will admit to you that this is my biggest gap right now. Last semester, we started out really strong with a weekly Sunday school program. We had all of our Sunday school teachers. Tess made one. I made a video. We had people making videos of a Bible story, and then they had a craft to do at home. And we started out really strong. We had about 15 families coming to pick things up for their kids. And then as school continued to be online, parents were trying to figure out how to work from home or work while their kids were studying from home. That really started to taper off. And at the end, I was down to maybe 2 kids. So we knew that wasn't going to work going forward, because a lot of kids are still online to this day and aren't able to maybe take on more of that study. So this is where I'm really struggling to figure out, how do I reach the younger generation without giving their parents more to do, on top of everything that they're already doing. All of you parents who have kids at home, you're rock stars, and I don't know how you do it. But without giving you more to do, and without overwhelming your child with things to do, how do we continue something that looks like Sunday school? So that's really where we're struggling this semester, and is something that I hope really to maybe pick up in the summertime, because the kids will be out of school. Maybe we can figure out what to do. But that's where we're at right now. Are there any questions? I know it was a lot, sorry. Okay, well, I have some questions for you all then. As people who come to Adult Forum have hopefully participated in some of our Bible studies, I know a lot of you have, and have, and know what it is to be here and doing formation, like a Lenten study in person and all those things. What, in your opinion, are we doing well right now?
Sorry, Susan.
No, go ahead, Louise.
I feel like and you didn't mention the women's book club, but I felt like the women's book club has been working really well. I think the amount of time between meetings is good. And then the fact that we're kind of flipping between something that's fiction and something that's nonfiction. And I mean, my husband is a Terry Pratchett fan and was kind of stunned that we were going to read Good Omens. So I think that's working well. As far as the adult forums, I'm kind of dipping in when I can. To be honest, I'm enjoying not having to be up at a specific time on a Sunday morning. So I'm tending to use the time to sleep in, which is why I'm kind of sporadic. And I did dip into the women in the Bible study, but my workload has just increased this past few weeks, so I'm not going to be able to do something during the workday for quite some time, unfortunately.
Sure. And that's why we're really happy to be able to have things recorded for access later. And so what you can do is you can go onto YouTube and search St. Timothy's Episcopal Church in Creve Coeur, Missouri, and that'll bring up our whole page that is just full of formation. All of those storytime videos are up, which if you did not see this week's storytime video, go find it, because Tess brings the baby, and the baby has a lot to say. So it's very cute. So go find that. It's on our YouTube channel as well as on our Facebook page. But we also have all of our adult forums are up on the YouTube channel as well. And so we're doing good work to try and make sure that these things are still accessible to you after the fact.
Yeah, I just would say as a parent, I don't have much space to be able to sit down and watch something later. So the possibility that I would access that, it would have to be something really, really important to me to be able to carve out that time. There's just too much going on here to have the space to do it.
I totally get it. Susan.
Several things have really pleased me. I think we've hit the mark, and that is having like the current Bible study or Zoom programs where we break into small groups and talk about specific questions. I think those have been valuable, and the feedback seems to be really good on those. So as we discussed earlier, you don't have to get up and go to church and meet in a meeting room. I mean, so I think those could go on forever. And I think the variety of topics, and then the variety of offerings, if people do go to our YouTube page or our Facebook page, there's just a lot out there. There are the Lent meditations. So I mean, I'm really pleased, and I know we have some new members, and we also have people who are not members right away, but we're open, and we have people who participate from different parts of the country. So I'm very pleased with that. The youth part, I feel for you and the children, because that's really tough. But I do get a lot of joy out of what we've offered so far, and really, really am impressed with Camie and Liz at the programs they've put together.
Thank you. And you brought up a good point, as in worship, so too will we continue to need to be maybe a hybridized version of who we are in formation, in Sunday school kind of thing. Being online is going to be a tool that works well for a lot of people going forward. Hopefully you'll feel compelled to come back to church. We certainly hope so. If not to, be in person to learn and worship, but at least to just be with each other. Like I said, formation fellowship has a lot to do with how we are formed as Christians. And so hopefully you're missing us as much as we're missing you. And that goes for teaching. The last thing we taught in person was the Book of Common Prayer class. We only got 2 sessions in before we had to stop that. And we had a ton of people coming, and it was really fruitful. And there were small group activities, and there were different things going on. And so hopefully you're looking forward to coming back to something like that in the future, but also being able to have this kind of format is really helpful, because I'm seeing so many of you now. I'm seeing 21 of you on my screen, and my hope would be that we would have that many people in person, but to be able to offer this, and maybe you have pajama pants on right now, I don't know, but if you do, good for you. And, happy to have you here. So any other, Jan?
Both Jan and Joy have been previously raised their hands. So maybe Jan can go first.
Go ahead, Joy.
Well, I just wanted to say that I think that the teams, and it's plural now, who've been doing the live streaming of our Sunday morning services are just doing a wonderful job. I mean, that pretty much everybody started out not knowing how to do it, and to see how far they've come, and I mean that we've added equipment and added sophistication, and great praise for all the teams that have done it, and for Rick and Karen Sharp for initiating it and teaching everybody else. So thank you very much to those teams.
Yes.
And to the clergy who've made it happen, and Mark with the music, and all the people who've participated. It's gone well. Yeah. However, I still want to come back to church.
Good.
Do we have any
That's a
idea?
really good point. We certainly aren't doing this alone. So for all of the volunteers, we are so grateful. Jan?
Yes, I just want to say I'm just amazed all the time of what we do and what you all do. I just could not have imagined that we would have this wonderful network on Facebook and on Zoom, and some things in person in the parking lots. I just think people are very creative to arrange all of those. So that gratitude is my strongest feeling. I think the next thing, my favorite thing that I do is the adult class, because wherever I am in the United States, it's at the same time, except time zone. I mean, I know when I have to do it. I can hear clearly. The topics have been great. For me, the Facebook things don't come across on my Wi-Fi very well, and so even the beautiful church services and the sermons, I miss a lot of that, but it's my Wi-Fi. It's not the recording. It just, it doesn't reach me like Zoom does. Thank you for all that you do and all the people that participate.
Nancy?
Well, I am enjoying it immensely, because being in choir, we never were able to come unless we missed rehearsal. So I hope you do continue recording them, because I can watch them later. And I love the variety of topics that you've had.
Yeah, that's a great point. Thank you. Yeah, we're not able to have the choir present, and so when you guys do get back to that, which I hope you're looking forward to that, I know Mark is, that you'll be able to access these later and still feel like you're part of the conversation. So thank you for mentioning that. Eric?
Yeah, and as with Nancy, I've really enjoyed being able to watch the replays, because as part of the video streaming team and then being Cantor, I mean, it's basically 2 out of 3 Sundays that I can't do Adult Forum live. So being able to catch it on the stream later is fantastic. I do think we've done a very good job of moving a lot of our stuff online, but I still think that the altar itself is very important. And I'd really like to see the offerings going on the altar. I don't think that's just a symbolic thing. I think there is a very real spiritual transformation that happens when you put that money on the altar and consecrate it to God. And even if it's just printing out the online receipts and putting it in the plate, I really think we should get the offerings on the altar.
Thank you for that. I wrote that down. Liz and I will have to have a conversation about that and how we do that. But I think you're right. It is very important. You know, we'd say, oh gosh, I have to remember now. It's not walk in love. What's the other one, Liz? Ascribe to the Lord the honor due his name. Bring offerings and come into his courts with praise. We can't bring offerings unless we're actually unless we're physically doing that. And it is so important that we enact that our bringing of ourselves to the table. And so I agree with you, Eric, and Liz and I will have a conversation about that, because I think that's a good point, and something that we haven't done just because we haven't had people really in the building on Sundays. So thank you for that.
Are we
There's a penny in the plate,
when
Eric.
we might open up the church? Are we looking at that?
Well, it's certainly something we look forward to. We're going to at least get through Holy Week, which we've got a lot of really great things planned. You'll be able to come to church for all of the Holy Week services, because we're going to do them outside. You'll be able to bring a lawn chair, wear a mask, and come and participate on Palm Sunday, Maundy Thursday, Good Friday, and the Vigil, and Easter Sunday. All of those will be open for you to come to physically drive to church, get yourself back into that habit. And then there'll be lots and lots of conversations and replanning. We wrote this whole plan of how we were going to reopen almost a year ago, and we need to take a good hard look at that and make sure that we're doing everything as safely as possible before we're confident enough to open our doors. So it's certainly been on all of our minds, and it is something that we look forward to. We're going to get through the resurrection and then maybe look forward to our own. So thank you for asking that question. Dennis. Oh, you're on mute, I think. Yep.
On this topic, just quickly, all of us on the vestry have been calling members to see how they're doing. I've talked with either 8 or 9 of my 16 so far that I've been able to reach, but everybody is really interested in when are we going to be able to get back to church. That's the number one thing that comes up, and I just thought give you that feedback.
Thank you. Yeah, we are well aware. And as much as you guys want to be back, we want you to be back. It is so weird doing church without you all here. And so we're on the same page. We just want to make sure that everybody will stay as safe as possible. And it's so exciting to hear when people are getting vaccines and feeling more confident about being out in public and things. And so as that ramps up, so will our plans to get you back in here. Leslie?
Yeah, can I just put a plug in, since you mentioned the live, being able to come to the Holy Week services. It's a perfect opportunity to invite someone, if you have a neighbor, a friend, or a relative who wants to get back to church, but they don't feel confident going inside. this is a great opportunity to invite someone. And there's little invite cards sitting on the table as you walk in the narthex on our invite welcome connect table. There's little cards that you can just write down the times of the services and hand it to a friend. Thank you.
Yeah, and to circle that, Leslie, back to formation, it has never been easier to invite people to come to church, to invite people into conversations that we're having online, to invite people into Bible study, because they can do it from their home. They don't have to feel pressured to walk into a building they've never been in. And to, Leslie has invited a lot of friends to come to our Bible studies. We've had other people invite friends to come to our Bible studies. People are finding them on our Facebook page because we've been boosting those events. So people are coming to those events that we've not seen before. And never have we seen so much growth like that, just immediate growth and people coming back. Jim Heinrich's sister-in-law in Texas came to the Advent study because she saw it on our Facebook page. And it's so great because she does have a connection here, but she can't be with us, physically, and she's still showing up to things. And that's really special. So it's so easy right now to invite people to come and join conversations, to come and join worship. So I hope that you'll be inspired maybe to make a phone call or send an email, because this Lenten study is not over, and you don't have to come to all the other ones in order to come to the next one. So that's a good opportunity for you. Okay. So what then, in your estimation, thank you for all of the positive feedback on what we're doing well. I really hope that we continue to keep the pace as high as we've been keeping it. What, if anything, can we be doing differently? What needs are we not meeting? What are you missing besides worship? In terms of formation, what might it be that you're really missing? Leslie.
I would love to have a Bible study where we study a whole book of the Bible. And I don't know if other people feel that way, but I think those, they're the more traditional kinds. But for me, I haven't read the whole Bible, and when I study a whole book, I feel like I get really immersed into the Bible and I'm participating. So I would love to see that coming forward. And then just another, it's kind of a question. I think earlier I had been trying to find our YouTube videos and had a hard time finding them. Have we done anything to make it easier to find those?
I have looked at that, at trying to change, what the URL is to get to our YouTube channel, and I haven't been able to figure it out. If anybody else has expertise in that, please contact me separately, because I really want to make that more accessible, because it's this long URL that, nobody's going to memorize, and you can't, so I'm aware of that, but I know it's linked at least once or twice in our weekly email. So hopefully you're seeing that. And I know that there are embedded videos from our YouTube channel on our website, that I think if you click through those links and things, you'll be able to get to our YouTube channel as well. There may actually be links there too. Amy will have that.
So on every single page of our website, if you scroll down to the bottom, it has a link to each of our different social media connections. So you can always scroll down to the bottom and click the YouTube channel, and it'll take you right to the YouTube channel too, just in terms of ease of use.
Yeah.
Camie, real quick, I believe if we get to 100 subscribers, you can change the name of the channel, so it's more. So we want to encourage people to subscribe.
Thank you for that. So that's another thing that you can invite people to do. Go on it yourself and subscribe to our YouTube channel. I know for our YouTube channels that I subscribe to, if it's on my phone, I'll even get notifications when new videos are put up. So that might be an accessible way to do that. And I think right now we're at 30 subscribers or so we have a little ways to go. But please, if you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel, find it on the website, on our Facebook page, in that email, and go and subscribe to it. Because then once you log on to YouTube, it will automatically kind of show up on that front page because you subscribe to that channel. So thank you, Louise. What else? What else are we maybe missing the mark on? And I really do invite your honesty, because we need to know really what it is that you feel you're not getting. And we can't fix it unless you don't make us aware of it. So Joy?
I just wonder if there's any way we can help people who are just not computer savvy to access what we're doing. I don't know how to provide that support myself, but there's got to be a way, because I think there are people out there who just are frustrated by it and therefore don't even try. Even the things that are supposed to be easy, it's not easy. And I don't know if we just assign a one-on-one helper or what, but
Yeah.
I think
Joy,
we've
that's a
got people
great
out there missing such good stuff strictly because of their own personal ability to access it.
Joy, that's a great idea. And I will tell you, when Jan said she can't make Facebook work, I wrote down a note to give her a call and see if I could come by and help her do that. So I feel like there's probably a group of people that would be interested in doing exactly that. Maybe our own organic geek squad. But I'm with you. I think it's tragic that there's this content out there that people just can't access. And it may be the steps between that and them having access are probably pretty simple for a lot of folks. So I think that's a great idea. And I'll kick around maybe some ideas of how we can assemble a team that could maybe try to go do that.
You just want to go to Florida.
In Florida.
Yeah, there will be, I guess. Maybe we have to create an expense account.
Eric, do you have something to weigh in on here?
Yeah, actually just following up on the previous two comments. One of the things that I have definitely not missed is all the complaints about our scheduling software, because we haven't had to schedule people. But we would do exactly what Hank and Joy were suggesting. If somebody just could not get the thing to work, we would find somebody to sit down with them. And, you know, this can be done entirely safely and social distance with masks and all that. But we would make it times like, listen, we're going to sit down with your phone and we're going to step through every process and then you'll know how to do it. And usually Karen Sharp did that. She was really good about it. But sometimes I did it and sometimes Amy would do it. I mean, it just, you know, it would be whoever was available. But I absolutely agree. Let's go ahead and get a group together and consider it a ministry, because if this is something that we're going to do going forward, which obviously it should be, we're going to get these questions.
Thank you.
Involve the youth. Youth should have lower issues with that, and maybe make it an intergenerational, cross-generational ministry.
Sure. Yeah. All right.
And I hate to kill trees, but I think if we're doing any of that kind of thing, we need very simple written instructions, because a lot of people just, you know, even though you're on the phone and you're seeing the same screens, but if they have step-by-step instructions that they can look up later and go, oh yeah. I mean, I think that was from my long career in documentation, get it on the paper.
Mm-hmm.
I second that.
Great. Thank you. I'm writing all of this down, so thank you. So yeah, access. We do need to, and this is not a, you know, we've been aware of this, but it's been a problem that we haven't known how to solve. And so thank you for bringing it up here, because obviously we have people who are maybe better equipped to help us do that, or at least a lot of your lay leaders who are now very aware of it. So thank you. Anything else? Louise?
I mean, I was just trying to think about what you could do for the the elementary age children. And obviously you'd want to poll the other parents and get an understanding their comfort level. But as the weather improves, maybe you could do some one-time Sunday afternoon activities or Saturday afternoon activities. And maybe Ashley could give us feedback too on her thoughts that are maybe an hour or two long outside, socially distanced-ish, you know, wearing masks if needed. Because I think a lot of parents want to keep their kids away from more Zoom, particularly the younger ones. And I know William really enjoyed Friday night. He had a good time. So something like that, maybe that's more kind of once a month or something, because I do agree that I think parents are overloaded right now just with managing everything. Even though life is slower and we're maybe not running to all the different extracurricular things, it's a different kind of pressure. So.
Right. Thank you for that. Yeah, as the weather does get nicer, it'll be easier to do that. So thank you. Yeah, I'll keep that in mind. And maybe we'll have a conversation later, Louise, just you and me. Okay. My last question. Oh, go ahead, Tony.
Yeah, is it possible that St. Timothy's could organize either as part of a Bible program or some other Zoom program, subjects around social issues? You know, we could look at class in the Bible, slavery in the Bible. You know, I hope I'm not stepping out of bounds here, but when I heard the title, Women in the Bible, I felt heartened and I went to it because I don't pay attention to women in the Bible and slavery in the Bible. That sort of, that theme. I like a whole book study also, so the harvest is plentiful.
Yeah, that's great. And the reason you don't hear that much about women in the Bible is because the Bible was written by men. Sorry. But there are some really fabulous stories in the Bible about a lot of women. And so I'm glad that you came to that study and I'm glad you got a lot out of it. And you're right, there are lots and lots of examples of classism, slavery, anti-Semitism. There are lots of ways that we read scripture that are potentially harmful, and those definitely deserve to be studied and dug into. So thank you. That's
and I have one question. Is there an age limit on Marshmallow posting?
Not at all. I will make sure you're on that email list next time. Okay.
If you need a fire built, he would like to be there.
Great. Okay. Yep. Steve and all the Boy Scouts were really on it, but we could always use another pair of hands, Tony. So
I wasn't thinking about the fire.
Oh. Nancy.
Going along with connecting people, something we might consider is some type of transportation program to get people to church when we can. I know the Sharps always pick up anybody at Friendship Village wants to come. But there might be other older people spread out, and if we can figure out a system who's nearby who could pick them up and take them home, that might be something to consider.
That's great. Thank you.
Another thing, sorry, Nancy reminded me, I signed up for a program called Letters Against Isolation, where they do letters each month to people in senior nursing homes and like Meals on Wheels programs. And I was thinking, why am I signing up for this? We ought to have something like this at St. Timothy's. So that might be something to look at, because even as people get vaccinated, some of the seniors still may not be comfortable coming to church. But maybe we could have a group that on a rotating basis sends them a note or makes a call or something like that to keep them connected and, you know, show that we care.
Yeah, I will tell you that our pastoral care team is really good about that stuff. They send lots of notes and lots of cards. They make phone calls. The vestry is now on this phone call campaign. But but it certainly does not hurt to ramp that up. I mean, people want to know that we're thinking of them and that we're caring about them, even though we can't see them and be with them. So thank you. Jan?
Can you hear me?
Mhm.
Yeah, from Florida. Yeah, the pastoral committee, for instance, sends cards to people at Friendship Village every week. But you know, if I were at Friendship Village, I'd love to get 10 cards a week. And I think you can just take the St. Tim's directory and see who has that address on Olive and send a note saying, hi, sorry, you're not coming to church. We miss you. I mean, 1 card a week is great, but 5 would be better.
Joy?
I think we need to be aware of other senior living facilities that people are in too, because if we focus so much on Friendship Village that we forget about places like Brookdale and the Fountains and other places, we're missing people who are important to us.
Absolutely.
Yeah, good point.
So we have just a couple minutes left, and I want to posit one last question to you, but I don't want you to answer me here. I want you to send me an email or give me a call this week or something. But here's my question. What, in terms of formation, might we need to let come to an end in order to make room for something new, if anything? I want you to think about that. Think about all the things that we do and what maybe has tapered off, or what maybe has become a one-person ministry, what maybe has really not seen the growth or the strength that it once did, if there's anything at all. Let me know. I'll be interested to hear that. And I know Liz will be too, as we continue through this interim process. So I'll be interested to hear your thoughts. It doesn't absolutely have to be on formation. It can really be on anything, but let me know. So thank you so much for letting me come and just talk to you today. I feel like I don't get to do this very much because I don't get to see you all in person, but it's been a pleasure, and I really appreciate all of your feedback and all of your encouragement, because you know, we're constantly hoping that we're doing the right thing, and you're all giving us hope that we'll continue to do this well, and even when we come back in person, that we'll figure out a way to do everything we do hybridized. So thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mother Camie, for being with us today and having the conversation. Thank you, everybody, for the great, engagement and conversation. All gold stars to all those that had the St. Timothy's mugs this morning. And we will see you in a few minutes, hopefully at the service. Everybody have a great week. Thank you.
Thank you.